Yo, it is trades video, and so far one has been made. Now we're going to loop tonight. We're going to see how it's all set up, but I was kind of mucking around a bit, and I was like, can I loop Tapane, Hosking, and King Tonga, and then potentially Kiraz as well? And probably not. I think that this game, Raiders and Penrith, is going to be incredible, much better than tonight's game, and it's going to be monsoonal tonight. I can't imagine how wet that field that they're playing on is going to be at a core. Pretty sure it's a core, but that's it looks like it's just going to rain and rain and rain, and has been all week. So just be prepared for a few of those games to be a little bit rained out. At a core. So Mudgee one looks pretty good. A Storm clash in Melbourne should be fine as well. And then you've got Manly 3 p.m. on Saturday. That's actually not looking great, to be honest with you there. So you could potentially look at looping guys like Turbo as well. At 4 points there. So it's him. It's Kiraz. If you've got like Garrick, like myself, you can do some looping in center and wing fullback, which could be fun. Now Sunday is a little bit of a worry. We're hoping that it's going to be improved. It's been pretty awful up here at Central Coast. Newcastle not great either. That Sunday game is where we want, for buying Walshy, that's where we want the goods to be happening. Now, the reason I can do that is because Jackson Ford was 16, and I had 3K in the bank, so I can go straight to Walshy on that one. It looks pretty good and saves me a couple of trades for next week and or the week after. Now, in that situation now with Hines and Garrick being my outs for the week, I've got 19 players that I could hopefully find 17 good ones out of, especially being able to loop a few of these guys early. King Tong is my only player tonight, and the way he's been going, he could continue to score well. My worry with the King, the new King, Gutho, is the wetness and how much that affects it. So we'll see if that changes things for him at the moment, but he's actually scored really well in wet games in previous weeks, or wet fields and that kind of stuff as well. So that's where I'm looking at it right now. With the 19 players that are available, Watson will be my worst player. It looks like at the moment, which is pretty crazy. King Tonga would be next, just on potential, I suppose. Maybe Katoa, just the way he's not in form right now, but I think he can come out with a decent game in this one. Hosking and Tapane, I think there's going to be a lot of tackles and a lot of work. We've seen that against the Panthers recently. There's been a few players in the middle and on edges that have made lots of tackles and have got really involved. So that excites me a little bit. And I think I'm just going to play Taps off the back of that, knowing Hosking's probably going to sit around the 60-minute mark. And we know Tapane's PPM is usually better and should play some decent minutes following the bye. That's the theory anyway. So with not having a clear looper, I have to choose one of them to play straight up, and Taps will be the guy this week. I've got the good feeling anyway. So Watson least best out of the 19, then King Tonga, then it's like a mixture between Hosking, Katoa, Tapane, and Kiraz. So seeing how those two go, see how King goes tonight, and we can muck around, not really, but I was trying to move around my halves, but in that case, like if King goes absolutely crunching, then we will loop Hosking in 5. The one thing we can do if Hosking was awful and got like a 20, 15 injury, something like that, touch wood, not going to happen. But let's just say that happened and King Tonga got a 60. I could move Isaiah Katoa out of interchange 4, move him into emergency 8 there, and just not play him this week. And in that scenario, would pick up King Tonga's score with Nicho Hynes, because he's currently there sitting in the half position. So that's the general theory and thought on that one. If King Tonga plays no good, then Hynes switches with Katoa. I have a few guys that could move in there as well, Adam Dewey and all these types of players that could slot into there as well. And that's the good thing about having the one game. You have that time to kind of sit and think on it tomorrow as well. When we're looking at the other players in the side, so Hosking, if he was to go, if King Tonga goes well and Hosking goes well, then it's sweet. I just loop both of them. So Hynes and Garrick makes it super easy. Hynes can stay in the half in that half position. He could go into interchange 3 or 4. It doesn't really matter. So if I'm taking both those guys, then Watson would come out of the side. And I suppose I could, depends how good the scores are, I could then say that I'm taking Kiraz out of the side as well. Could that work? Garrick could come up. Yeah, for Watson. So Kiraz could stay there. And he could still be looped in number 7, which could be cool. So not having to make that clear decision. So if he went absolutely nuts, I could trade him. Sorry, I could put Garrick into center or wing fullback and collect Kiraz's score over one of the other two. Or I then reverse the trade from Ford to Walsh. So there's lots of different things that can be done with the Ford Warriors game being played in number 5 and the Broncos game being played second last. That can happen as well, which is good news. Yeah, something we like to have is ultimate flexibility. So just want to talk through that with you guys. I just think that's super helpful for your own teams, and it's helpful for me to talk through it. And I know it can be hard to sit there and stare at your screen or your phone to try and work that out. But again, heading into next year's private group as well, it's a really good way to get some of that brain power out of your head, get some speed by asking us in the crew, me, Mitch, and everyone else, how to do those kind of things. So just a little insight into the help that we can provide at a much quicker rate than potentially yourself. If it's not we know looping is very, very difficult. If that's not in your wheelhouse, we can help with that next year. So yeah, that's where I'm looking at now. Watson may not make the side, and same with Kiraz, if those two do well. So hopefully that's the case. I hope that Hosking and King Tonga both can score great, and I don't have to take that risk on someone like Watson and even Kiraz against the Storm there. Although if it's a dry clash, we might actually want him more than others. So there's that. Maybe we want Kiraz's score over Turbo's score, right? So in that scenario, we would be able to move Garrick into that wing fullback slot and take Kiraz's score, which would be cool. So a few different things that we can look at in this side, and the flexibility is the biggest part of it. Now, just a big good luck to all of the guys up top, for Andrew in the private crew, along with Jakey in 5th, with Tyson in 10th, and with Harry and Nigel in 13th and 15th. And then shout out to Curdy Boy as well, and Les, who Kurt hasn't joined in the actual private group league yet, but part of the crew as well. And everyone else up there in the top 10. It's a very scary few weeks to going for the title of Soul Survivor, and it's heating up. And the last few years, if that's anything to go by, it gets so close, and things change in that round 27 drastically with 100, 200 points. So any lead that Andrew can build will be great, and hopefully it is a little bit larger after this week. So good luck to all you legends in that top 10, and everyone else that is following where we're at the moment. If you've made it all the way through to the end of this video, that is a pretty dog, but it looks crazy. And let me know what rank you're currently at and how many trades. Let's just love to get a bit of an idea as to where you're at, and I suppose what's keeping you still watching these videos. Is it just because you want to stick it out the year and you like learning? And if that's the case, you would have got plenty out of the looping little scenario that I just went through in my side. And we're going to leave it there. Thanks so much for tuning in for the trades and for this whole week. Round 25, we've got 2 rounds to go. And then the exciting things actually is that we've got NRL Supercoach Fantasy Final Series. So I'm going to be running some leagues on there. I will be doing content around it for that 4 weeks of the final series, and there's $2,500 up for grabs on Supercoach. So if you want to be around for that, I'll put a league code in as we get a little bit closer, but just stick around for that as well. We'll do my reviews and everything else on the channel. So thanks so much for being here, guys. Catch you in the next one.